Okay, well, cool. I'm glad we did that. That was very revealing. Do they have bathrooms on sailboats?
You're bored and feeling blue, and you don't know what to do. Just turn on your screen and keep watching me. It's Mandy and Friends, where the fun never ends. Mandy and Friends, where the fun never ends.
Hi, welcome to Mandy and Friends. Oh my gosh, I am so excited for this episode. We have a very special guest, none other than Lindsay. Hi. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I know it's weird. It's like you want to like focus on the audience, and there's no audience. It's just me.
I'm used to the virtual audience, though.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, thank you so much for being here. I know you're here in between meetings. You got a packed schedule, so I really do appreciate your time and energy for coming out. Yeah. Have you ever been here?
No, this is the first time.
Yeah,
so
not many people have. It's just funny. I'm always trying to like proselytize, like tell people, you guys, you have to understand we have an awesome TV station we should take advantage of.
Yeah, and the radio station I hear too is just kind of back online for McMinnville. So
yeah, see, I didn't. Oh, is KLYC? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, see, there you go. I didn't know that. Well, yeah, I would just love to get to know you, just because I don't know anything about you except what we just hear and kind of see. So let's just start with the basics. Where are you from?
Yeah, born and raised in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Right outside of Phoenix, really, suburb of Phoenix.
Oh, wow.
Although Phoenix is like totally urban sprawl now.
Yeah.
But born and raised there mostly. We moved around a little bit. I lived in Alabama for a bit, which was interesting with the tornadoes and all those things that we never experienced here.
Yeah.
And then we lived in just outside of London for a little bit, which was pretty cool. I was old enough to remember most of that. So.
Are you an Army brat?
No.
Is that why you moved?
No, my father's an engineer.
Oh,
so
okay.
It was just his job that sort of took us around. And
what did he engineer?
He was an aeronautical engineer.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Worked for different companies. He retired from Honeywell Aerospace. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Did he have anything to do with Boeing?
No comment.
Sorry, it's just in the news.
I know, and it's horrible. I have a lot of pilots in my family, but I am the worst flyer. I mean, I am like white knuckled.
Oh yeah. That's
so
absolutely on my bucket list is I really want to learn how to fly a plane. And that's mainly because that comes from my grandma, actually. My grandma in the late 30s. In the 30s, she lived in Brooklyn, New York, and she wanted to learn how to fly a plane. And so she paid for herself, got lessons, and flew a biplane, a watercraft, over Brooklyn. She's got pictures of it. And I found these photos. She didn't tell me about it. I just found these photos in one of her albums. And I was like, Grandma, what? This is amazing. Why didn't you, have you ever flown before? She's like, no. And I'm like, well, did you ever fly after? And she's like, no. And I'm like, why? She's like, I just wanted to know I could do it. I'm like, okay. But have you ever like actually tried to fly?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
I mean, my uncle has a small plane, so we've gone up plenty of times, and I hold the rudder, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, the rudder.
I don't know what it's called. For like 2 seconds, and that's it. But,
gotcha. Nice.
No, it's one of those things I would probably do just to face this ultimate fear that I have of flying.
Yeah.
Just to say I conquered it and I can actually fly a plane, but
yeah.
You could not get me to skydive. There's
no
way in heck.
I know.
That, so.
Yeah, I've heard of countless people wanting to like jump out of do bungee jumping because they're scared of heights or something like that. Okay, so you moved around a lot because of your dad, but then how did you get to Oregon?
So we moved back after being sort of in the South for a while. We moved back to Arizona, and I finished high school and went to college at Arizona State.
Okay.
And when I was there, I met my fiance at the time, and he was a little bit older than I was, and he moved up to Salem, Oregon, to help build the Salem Hospital.
Oh, wow.
So when that whole development or expansion was being done of the hospital, He was in construction, so
Nice.
he was already up here, and I was one of those, you know, I'm out of here when I'm sort of out of college.
Yes.
Young women.
Yes.
Very independent, and so I moved up, and we lived in Oregon for a while, Kaiser, Salem area, and then moved up to Washington State and lived there for many years, and then unfortunately got divorced when my son was about 3.5, and
Okay.
so I moved down to Wilsonville with the intent of going to law school,
Oh, okay.
and figured out very quickly that that was not going to happen with a 3.5-year-old.
Oh
so,
man,
yeah.
no, I feel that. I was a single mom for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's not easy.
Yeah, I was a single parent for 13 years.
Yeah.
I didn't meet my current husband until just about 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
3-4 years. Well, actually, we met after I won the first election in 2020, and then we got married like 2 days before I was sworn in.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
So
I
it's
had
very
no idea.
recent, but yeah, prior to that, I was a single parent. It's hard.
Yeah.
Hard thing to do, but love being a parent. It's the best thing I've ever done. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And just worked in
Awesome.
public policy, and felt like I jumped off a cliff, but I started my own company in 2013, and
What company?
it was called Leona Consulting.
Okay.
It's still open. I don't do much work at all anymore because I'm so busy with being a full-time commissioner, but
Sure.
I did a lot of public policy work, and I did some campaigns, helped companies sort of educate, I think, based on their industry and what their industry was
okay.
focused on. So, yeah,
So-
a lot of that kind of work.
I didn't do, the only research I did was peruse your public Facebook posts. I'm just going to be honest. Like, that's literally all I did. I was like, I don't know anything about you. And let's see what Facebook has to say. And the only thing I could find that I was like, oh, I had no idea, was all your work with timber. Just the picture. So can you talk about that a little bit? And like, what was your role with
Yeah, I mean, I've helped support timber companies in Oregon for quite a while. I mean, now over 10 years, and just on a basic level, the natural resource policies that surround that.
Okay.
So timber and farming.
So, sorry. So, again, you're talking to someone who knows nothing. So, timber policies. So, like replanting trees.
Sure,
what is
yeah.
this? What does that encompass? The timber policies. What does that mean?
Well, when I moved up here, I mean, Arizona's a desert.
Yes.
We do have some high desert areas that have a lot of timber, but for the most part, I didn't grow up in this setting in Oregon. So it's part of why I love Oregon. I love the seasons, and I love just all of the green.
Totally.
But when I moved here, it was an education for me because I didn't really understand the history of Oregon and the natural resource policies that we've had. And so I spent a lot of time with just going out with foresters and learning about how they treat the forests, and they describe them as this sort of moving mosaic, which is basically a really large farm, right?
Yeah.
They cut down this part, replant it, move on to this section, and that was really impactful for me, just to learn about the history of Oregon and how we manage our natural resources here. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, what did you do
Let's
in
do
college? Like, so I went to George Fox University.
Oh.
And that's how I fell in love.
My school is very
with-
different.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I fell in love with the Valley. I grew up in Beaverton, and the Valley was always a drive-by. Like, we just went straight to the beach, right? Just drove through Newburgh, totally bypassed McMinnville. Did not know anything about McMinnville. But then when I went to George Fox, that's when I was like, oh, this is beautiful, and I love it here. So, but yeah, George Fox is a very, specific Quaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very different from the party school.
Oh, okay. So
that I went to.
And what I went to school and I graduated with a studio art major, which was perfect for 2008 when the economy was crashing.
Yeah.
So that's why I just started making babies instead. But what did you do in college?
I was pre-law, so I definitely had the law school track in mind. But I was in a sorority too, so I had a lot of fun.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I was a victim of sexual assault in my first year.
Okay.
And so that really changed my entire college experience.
I bet.
Not in a good way. And kind of just retooled my priorities and really buckled down and focused on school to try and get out as fast as I could, because honestly I just didn't want to be in that environment anymore.
That's so weird. I actually had this premonition that we were going to talk about this, because I am also a victim of SA. This was when I went on the mission field in El Salvador, but I got to leave El Salvador. I went back to El Salvador 19 years later to kind of face my demons and be the victor instead of the victim. I'm really kind of applaud you for even staying at that school and not leaving.
Well, I left the campus.
Okay.
It was difficult. I mean, you sort of relive that trauma, but
yeah.
I don't have a victimhood mindset in general, right? I'm just very independent and very sort of keep pushing forward. And so I did, and I ended up graduating early and was out like a rocket and wanted to go and start my life. And so, but I have found that over the years, especially when it comes to being a quote politician, it definitely shapes your views, and you sort of go back to, why do I feel a certain way? Okay, it might be because of some of these things that have happened in my life. Can
you give an example?
Well, I am very strongly pro Second Amendment, and part of that reason is based in my experience, right?
Okay. Yeah.
When you're a victim in that way, you sort of have this mindset of, I'm going to do whatever I can to protect myself. And so I have a CHL, and I'm just very strong and outspoken about women protecting themselves in that way. I think it's a great option to have.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work to protect it. Some people don't agree, but
that's
okay.
I agree with that. yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been, that's amazing. And I kind of just want to circle that subject with, I just started advocacy training with Henderson House. Henderson House, in case you don't know, I know there's people who watch the show who don't live in Yamhill County. Yeah. Henderson House is a really amazing women's shelter for domestic violence in SA. And to be an advocate is basically someone who steps in, and not in a lawyer sense, but just steps in and speaks for them to advocate. Like, to be certified, it's an actual training. It's a real thing. But I love it because via the Henderson House, after every heavy thing we talk about, Trudy, who runs it, she's so sweet. She's like, is anyone getting triggered? Do we need to have a break? If we need to have a break, you guys can get up, walk around. It's okay. Yeah. And it's been really eye-opening and beautiful, and also just super educational. It gives, at least me, and I know the other people in the training, tools like, where does the government get involved? What are our rights? What are men and women's rights in these situations? And then how do you talk to a victim? How do you blah 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 blah, or survivor? We don't like using the word victim either, because it's just a whole mental thing. But it's interesting because our deputy district attorney, Kate Lynch, I don't know if you know Kate, but she is running for the district attorney spot. Okay. So she's going to be on the ballot in November. She's running unopposed, but our current DA, Bradbury, is retiring. So, but she spoke at a forum last Thursday night, and her story is so powerful, and it just reminded me, she's a victim of assault. I don't know if it was sexual or otherwise, but she was describing her experience, and it made me so proud that we have women in this county who have stepped into leadership roles, that where the heart is advocacy. Whether you're an attorney or you're an elected official or whatever, we have so many women in this county that have really sort of used their experiences and stepped in to help others. So that's awesome. That's really cool.
Really neat to learn about her.
Let's do something fun. Because on my show...
Just not singing.
What?
No singing.
What? Why not? No, I love karaoke though. That's funny that you say that. No, do you remember the game MASH? Mm-hmm. Have you played it in a while?
No.
Okay, we're gonna play MASH. Okay, for those of you guys out there who don't know what I'm talking about, MASH. Okay. MASH is this is before cell phones. Us gals would play MASH, and it's basically like what's your future gonna bring? Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
Yes. Okay. So MASH is mansion, apartment, shack, or house. That's what you're gonna live in.
Okay.
And then
Okay, now it's starting to come back to me.
yeah, we're gonna start with who you're gonna marry, and this is make believe, pretend you're not married, and only celebrities we know. So you get to pick 3 potential mates.
Of celebrities?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
It can be anyone. Ooh, they could even be characters. Let's do like any character too.
You're hitting my weakness because I don't watch TV.
They get to be any celebrity. They could be a dead president for all I care. Abraham Lincoln.
Okay, let's see.
I mean, he was tall, so there you go.
Right? Okay. Well, tall's good.
Okay,
We'll start with him.
Abe Lincoln. We're starting off strong.
Who is my? Gosh, there was a movie that we just watched too. And I literally don't watch TV. I don't watch movies.
It's okay.
I have no time to do anything fun like that. So I have to put my current husband down.
No. Oh, I'm not letting you.
He's gonna watch this and go, "You didn't even say my name."
And I'm gonna be like, yes, I told her not to. This is for fun. You could do 1980s. What was growing up? What were
with New Kids on the Block. So
that's amazing. We'll just do the whole band.
Who's
New Kids.
the New Kids on the Block?
I don't know. New Kids on the
Who
Block.
else did we grow up with?
You can rotate. Okay.
I don't know. You've really stumped me. I really don't have a favorite actor or celebrity that I pine over.
Okay, we'll put your husband. What's his name?
Mike.
Mike. All right, Mike, you made the list. Only because her memory is so bad.
Yeah.
No. Okay, pets. 3,
pets?
and again, these could be any animals.
Are you asking my favorite pets?
This is gonna be
Well, we are a German Shepherd family.
Okay.
So you can put down 3 of them. In fact, I would have 50 if my husband would.
Okay, we'll
let
say
me.
50 German Shepherd. Okay. Next. You have 2 more.
Oh, I can't use all 3 of them for
No.
German Shepherd? Okay. Well, let's see. My first dog was a Cocker Spaniel.
Okay.
So we love Cocker Spaniels. And then before Ayla, we had a Shih Tzu.
What about do you have any animals like tigers or elephants?
I've never had anything but dogs.
No. Since we're thinking outside the box. This is like fantasy realm. What would be your dream animal to have?
I love dogs.
Okay. So
I'm just a dog person.
Shih Tzu. Besides Yamhill County, 3 fantasy places that you would want to live.
Besides Yamhill County.
Yeah.
I love historical places.
Okay.
So my experience as a kid in England was really cool. I have a lot of really fun memories from that. And just to sort of be with buildings and structures that are so much older than even the East Coast here.
Yeah.
Is pretty neat.
Totally.
So, I don't know, somewhere in Europe, I guess. That
Okay, we'll start with
is
England.
relatively a free country.
Ish.
I love Maui.
Ooh.
My family has vacationed there many, many times.
Nice. Love Maui too.
Love Maui.
I love Hana on the wet side. All right.
I'm kind of a history nerd, so maybe Washington, D.C., New York area, all of the U.S. historical
I've been
areas.
to both, and I love upstate New York. My cousins are from upstate New York.
Oh, yeah.
And if I couldn't live in Oregon, if someone just told me, you're not allowed to live here anymore, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to upstate New York. Okay. Let's do one more, and then we're gonna see what happens. So we've got
Can't
husband,
be any
pets,
harder than the husband.
places to live, and then vehicle, like dream vehicle, and it could be plane, bike, it could be anything, just a thing to get around.
Well, we know it's not going to be a plane, so.
Right. Okay.
I am somebody who, like, when I find something I like, I stick with it for as long as I possibly can.
Okay.
Or I buy like 2 or 3 of them so that I have them for extended periods of time.
Gotcha.
Maybe that means I'm boring. I don't know. But I love
It's reliable.
I love my Yukon.
Okay.
My whole, my kid and my dog, we've grown up in it, and it's my life. So
Okay.
I love my Yukon.
Got it.
And I will probably drive it into the ground. So
Now two epically giant dreams.
I love being on the water, so a boat of some type.
Ooh, sailboat or yacht?
Probably a yacht, because
That'd be easier.
women need a bathroom. So
Do
probably.
they not have bathrooms on sailboats? Actually, when I went to Maui as a child, my grandpa took me, and we went snorkeling, and it was on an old sailing pirate ship, and it was amazing. It was epic, and there was a bathroom on it. So, just saying. But we'll put yacht. Okay, one more.
Some like old classic car. I don't know, that you can take out on the weekend, like.
Ford Mustang. My grandpa had one. That's the only one.
Yeah. Some type of old sports car that, when I ever retire.
Old
Retire.
sports car. Got it. Okay, so now pick a number between 1 and 7. Actually, no, 1 and 5.
3.
Okay. Oh boy.
I don't remember this part of the game though.
This is how we pick it. 1, 2, 3. Oh man. Okay, Lindsay, you ready to see
What my future looks like.
in the next 50 years? You're going to be married to Abe Lincoln.
Okay.
Sorry, Mike. Abe Lincoln is your husband. You guys live in upstate New York. That makes sense for Abe Lincoln.
There you go.
Kinda.
Yeah.
In a house. So that's nice. Not in a shack. Yay. House in upstate New York with a Shih Tzu and an old sports car. Yay, Abe Lincoln.
I think that means there's a common thread, which is like old. There's a little old going on.
You have an old soul. We get it.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay, well, cool. I'm glad we did that. That was very revealing.
I need to watch more movies.
Yeah, clearly.
Take a few more vacations.
Yeah. No, I am totally of the work hard, play hard. I which can be not good sometimes, where I work way too hard, and then I'm like, why am I always burnt out?
Yeah.
But yeah, my sweet husband's like, don't do that. Anyway, I would love to talk about future stuff with you. Okay, hi. So moving forward, so you've been the commissioner, or on the team of commissioners, I should say, for the last 4 years, and moving forward, what is your plan to kind of bridge the gap? Because I always hear in Washington, they're always trying to we got to find those people that will talk to both sides and do it well. Do you have plans, or what are your plans to do that? Do you understand my question? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my answer to that has always been, even going back 4 years or 5, which is when I first ran, was to make sure that I'm very clear about my values and my personal experiences, and make those values known to voters, because at the end of the day, the form of government that we live in is you elect me or someone else to then make decisions for you, right? That's how we work in this country. So I have always felt that making sure that my personal values and how I will apply those is the forefront of my message. Mm-hmm. And that might come across as sort of being very one-sided, but it's not meant to be. It's just, I really think it's important to be clear about those, because my decisions impact, somebody's right to build something on their property, which is a pretty impactful thing, right? It impacts, how we apply taxpayer resources in the county, mm-hmm. and where they go. It impacts our staffing levels. You know, if we reduce staffing in, let's say, the sheriff's department and there's less patrol people, then we have the same levels of crime. It's obviously going to impact you, right? So it's like, I want to make sure that I err on the side of being clear about my values so that people, when they cast a vote, they're like, okay, I know she's going to do this. Or if she was presented with this type of situation, based on her values, she more than likely will vote this way, which is what I agree with, or maybe I don't agree with it, right? So you vote for somebody else. But I do, and we were asked this question last Thursday about this sense of division and discord that's going on and going around in the county. My answer, and I believe this, is that it's a very small number of people that are pushing this, because the vast majority of interactions that we have as commissioners are positive. We don't agree with everybody on everything, and that's never going to be the case. You're never going to get a board of commissioners or even a single commissioner that agrees with everyone and represents everyone equally. It just doesn't, it's not how things work. If that were the case, I wouldn't be able to vote on most things.
Sure.
Because it would be too controversial or too, one-sided. So I think it's a very small number of people that are pushing a narrative for whatever reason, I don't know. But I was describing, all of these things that we've done across the entire county, partnerships that we've had across the entire county, from Willamina to Newburgh, and really this value that the county, we kind of view ourselves as like a supporting role. And in many cases, that's what we're limited to doing, like with housing. Oftentimes it's a supporting role. Or with health and human services, we're the kind of that supporting role for cities. And so we tend to push that support out as much as we can. That's what happened during COVID. COVID was, for any elected official, COVID was chaos. Doesn't matter
it was
what
hell
side
for
you're on.
all of us.
Yeah. And trying to govern
different
and navigate
hell
through that.
for various people. Yeah.
It was, man, I describe it as gearing up for battle every week, because that's how it felt. It
For
just
sure.
was nuts.
Yeah.
So and that was the first half of my term. So it's hard to really, judge and separate that out, because it just feels like it was a huge part of my term so far. But I do think that even through that, we were shifting and looking outward and saying, how can we be in more of a supported role? With that, though, is this philosophy and sort of value set of, we don't want to be an extra layer of burden.
Pivoting to another question that I had, can you talk a little bit about what's going on with money for childcare? Because I know the News Register picked that up. Where was it being taken from, and what's going to happen to it now?
Are you talking about the article about McMinnville?
Yeah.
So we had, I'm trying to think of the amount, I think it's 2.2 million total that we set aside in a bucket for childcare for the ARPA money. So ARPA came from the federal government to the counties. We had over $21 million total. And way back when Kesey Kula was a commissioner, we sat down and we said, okay, what buckets do we want to see this money going into? Childcare was one of them. So it had just over $2 million. And we have chosen to fund certain things through that process. And we had, I think it was about $1 million left recently. And so George Fox University was asking for right around $1 million, if I'm remembering my numbers. We just got through budget week. So.
Specifically for childcare?
For childcare, because they want to actually build a new facility on the campus, and so, which is great. So like the designing and the planning, the prep, whatever architectural prep they have to do. The hard thing is that building new takes years. And this money has to be spent by December of 2026. So it feels like there's a time crunch on spending it. And so George Fox came forward and said, well, if we do half on the planning and then half towards like the furniture for it, we can spend that money faster and we'll just store it until it's built, which was in a nutshell, but that was basically what they said they would do. And we had heartburn over that because, you know, I'm looking around and there's such a childcare desert here that I really want to focus that money on the biggest bang for our buck and like immediate need.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, the school district, Max School District, came out with, we're about to lose our child care program.
Yeah.
And I was a latchkey kid, so I know how important that stuff is. And so we just sort of dove in, Joya and I just kind of dove into that and started learning as much as we could, as fast as we could. And yeah, they could use the other half of that $1 million. It would buy them an additional probably 2 years of the program and provide summer school, which is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
You know, most of the families can't afford that. Most of the families that they're serving, you know, can't afford the $15 a month stipend or whatever it is that they need to pay. So we're talking about families that are suffering and parents that are working multiple jobs to the point where their kids don't have anywhere to go after school.
Yeah.
So they truly would become latchkey kids again if this were to go away.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that's where I feel the money should go. I think that my colleagues needed to have a little bit more information before we make a decision. Hopefully we can do that here pretty soon because the money does need to be spent fairly soon.
Yeah.
All things considered. And so I'll be bringing it back. But in my mind, it's more about sort of biggest bang for your buck. And I have no doubt that George Fox, partnering with ADEC, will be able to bring in all sorts of resources that the McMinnville after school care program does not have access to. You know what I mean? So,
well, and does Newburgh have an after school program already dialed in?
They've got something going, and we actually gave them funding too. It's the Northwest Christian Church. I think it's called the Zone.
Oh, okay.
And so they've had that program in Newburgh, and now they're expanding it with the money that we've given them too.
Okay. So they're okay.
We're trying to you know, spread the money out as far as we can so that we have the biggest bang for our buck.
Got it.
And for me personally, I'm not speaking for my colleagues, but for me personally, you know, buying furniture for a facility that's not even built yet is sort of like it doesn't quite feel like we're meeting the need.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. That should be coming forward in the next couple weeks again.
Gotcha. So if you win, moving forward, what are your big hopes, dreams, goals, aspirations for the county?
Well, I have been pulled into the recovery community going back almost 10 years.
Recovery community. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, going back years and years throughout my career. I just happen to be privileged to know people that are in recovery and they are involved and they're just amazing people. And it has sort of sucked me into this this really important push to bring more resources here to Oregon. I can go into it for hours, but we just don't have the resources that we need to meet the needs of those struggling from addiction.
Okay. And I was about to say you're talking about drug addiction.
Yeah, drug and alcohol addiction.
Gotcha.
So when I ran the first time, I really was passionate about bringing a recovery high school here. And at that time, Oregon really only had one. It's called Harmony Academy over in Clackamas County. And it's a phenomenal school. I mean, those kids are, you know, they're in addiction, but they're also coming out of like the juvenile justice program or system in Clackamas County. So it's really sort of meeting those needs by teachers who have lived experience. So it's just it's an amazing thing. I attended one of the graduations one year and it was like people were everybody was sobbing, right? Yeah. Nothing is more devastating to me than seeing a kid that has just given up and has lost hope and fallen into that. So that is still a goal of mine. The state, I think as recently as the last full session, passed a bill that would provide funding for recovery high schools. I believe Harmony Academy is a charter school, so you have to sort of have a parent school district to host it. So we'll see. The Newburgh School District said that they might be interested in doing something like that. But it's a big undertaking to get something like that going.
So these are specifically kids who are in recovery, not necessarily their parents, and they're having to deal with
and
the aftermath.
18 and under. Yeah.
But okay, wow.
Yeah.
Do you think
we've got kids in our juvenile detention facility that are 11 and 12 that are struggling. So, and most of my friends that are in recovery have said, look, if somebody had met me where I was at when I was 13 and 14 and warned me that I was going down this path, you know, my life might have been different. So getting to them early, and then obviously fentanyl is like, it's like a powder keg to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, they're getting pills off of Snapchat, and they're gone. Yeah. With one pill. So we've had a couple incidents like that with teenagers here in the county. So boosting sort of the youth side of that, but then also the adult side is, I mean, we're seeing the results of a lot of that. And so we need a detox facility. Sobering center, detox facility, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, I agree.
We need it.
Yeah.
So we have been, and Provoking Hope specifically has been driving people to Baker City to try and get them into detox beds. We can't continue to do that. It's just not going to work. So I am laser focused on partnering, because it's going to require partnership. So partnering with a city, or you know, between the city and the county and a nonprofit like Provoking Hope, or Newburgh has a recovery team out there to site and locate and get this detox facility going. We have reform that's coming from House Bill 4002, which is the Measure 110 reform. But unless we can do all of that, but unless we have somewhere to send them to get them on a path to being sober,
right,
it's gonna bottleneck, and they'll either end up in jail like they have been, or on the streets. So if we really want to solve the problem, we have to make sure that we invest in the pipeline into addiction treatment services.
Yeah, definitely.
So
that, I mean, circling the healthy communities are built on healthy people, and it starts with childhood. That's what, So, and that's why my nonprofit is all about art healing and art therapy. I like to plug my nonprofit any chance I get. St. Bezzy's Art Clap. Anyway, but yeah, I agree with you on that. That's amazing. Lindsay, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And I wish you all the best with Abraham Lincoln and your
my old sports car.
House in upstate New York. It sounds amazing. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, and I would love to thank MCM TV. This is local McMinnville television. If you want to start a show here, you totally can. Just give them a call. And I'd love to thank Lindsay again for coming out.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right, that's a wrap. The hardest part about directing is scheduling everyone.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just like getting everyone on the same schedule, especially when everyone has jobs. Like, I'm a substitute teacher, so I took today off to do this. Normally I'd be substitute teaching.
Do you have like a subject, or do they just put you where you need to be?
You can pick and choose your jobs. But yeah, no, I teach everything. So like, I did PE 3 times last week randomly. PE, high school PE, that's a trip.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
And the other day I was teaching language arts. It was second period. Someone had left their lipstick just on the table, and these high school boys run in, grab the lipstick, and literally start eating it. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then he looks at me and he's like, this is mine. And like takes, I'm like, can't even. And I discovered very early on, because this is the first year I've done this, I'm not good with elementary kids. Yeah, I have 3 kids of my own, but
how
like
old are they?
I have a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 14-year-old.
Okay.
And
preteen range.
It's just herding cats.
Yeah.
Literally, elementary, like a group of 20 elementary kids is constant redirection. No order, especially as a substitute. Like, they're just excited that you're there and they want to tell you everything, which is cute, but like, you actually have to do stuff. But yeah, anyway.
But then you don't get the moodiness. Ugh.
Oh yeah, no, I know. There's a difference between like the kids who just want to play, and the second graders who are just crazy, versus the high schoolers who will give me side eye, look me up and down, and be like, "You're wearing sandals with no socks. That's disgusting." Because my daughter's a freshman at the high school, so she hears everything, and apparently some of the kids have been talking about me and saying that I wear colorful pants and I wear no socks with my sandals. I'm showing off my piggies.